Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Beverly Pierce for this story. Many of you may have heard about the Million MAGA March, just a big ripoff from Louis Farrakhan Million Man March. But see, here's the difference. They only got a few thousand people to show up. Louis Farrakhan really got a million men to show up and march on Washington. Big difference, and them being the original people that they are, called theirs the Million MAGA March. So much for that originality, huh? And creativity. So this came out in Yahoo Entertainment November 14th, 2020, following Trump's loss in the presidential election. President-elect Joe Biden, his supporters decided to try and emulate Louis Farrakhan's 1995 Million Man March on Washington, calling theirs the Million MAGA March. And they've been copying Louis Farrakhan ever since. I remember the Million Mom March. I mean, they've been copying him ever since. Never say that Black people are not the trendsetters. We are. Their denials don't change that. It's fact. So, they called theirs Million MAGA, but they should have called it the 1,000 MAGA March because they only got a few thousand. That's really it. So, you know what this reminds me of, y'all? The Tea Party. Remember the Tea Party cropped up as soon as Obama got in office. All of a sudden, this racist Tea Party popped up. Since Obama left office, we haven't heard a peep out of the Tea Party. So we know why you were there. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember they could never get big crowds out for the Tea Party events. This reminds me of the same thing. They would always have these little teeny sparsy looking crowds. Hardly nobody show up. Never could get no big turnout with that Tea Party. So their march, however, didn't receive the same type of turnout that the real Million Man March did. So, they were clowning them out in the media. CBS wrote, indeed, a million march. This is not. And let's see what Mike Valerio, Million MAGA March. Here's the overhead view. Freedom Plaza at 11:15 a.m. and it looks like some little sparsy looking crowd. Philip Lewis, an aerial shot of the Million MAGA March, a few thousand, the most. Despite some Trump supporters trying to tout an astonishing turnout for the demonstration, videos and pictures proved the crowd looked like it was barely 5,000 people. All right, you call it the Million MAGA March and you barely had 5,000 people. Not 1 million, they reported. And of course, Kayleigh McEnany, being the fraud that she is, tried to tweet more than 1 million marchers for president at the real Donald Trump descended on the swap in support. So no, she's lying. And they did, y'all, try to change the crowd to make it look like a big crowd size by showing you crowds from other events. Yeah, they did that lame behind mess. It also looks as though Trump himself drove through the march in his motorcade as well, but he did not participate or speak during it. Yeah, whatever. Okay, and Nathan Bernard he tweeted, the Million MAGA March is a huge failure. Dismal turnout with only the most hardcore pro-Trump losers in attendance. Yeah, and it did turn violent, y'all. And see, that's another thing that did not happen at Louis Farrakhan's real Million Man March. There were no outbreaks of violence. And guess what else those people did? During the Million Man March, they took all the trash with them. So Washington, D.C. did not have to clean up after any of those black men that showed up down there. They took every piece of trash with them. Chicken soup for the Antifa. So the Million MAGA March, and he got a picture of a bunch of sheep, is going well. Rich Flair wrote Million MAGA my ass, laughing my ass off, seeing more folks at Liddy than this weak ass protest. I tell you what, MAGA people, if this is what you call a good turnout, you would have zero chance of keeping Trump in office, even if you were doing it by force. It's just not enough of you. You wouldn't be able to even do it by force with this low turnout that you had. Um, Josh Potash, when a Million MAGA march is called in DC and a few thousand people show up saying things like Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. They were in the street saying that. Damn. You need to understand this is what the Republican Party is now. Y'all were in the street saying Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing. Wow. You went all the way to DC just to say that. All right, another one from Dwayne Rogers. The fact that the Million MAGA March would co opt the language of the Million Man March is so offensive. Typical, love the culture, but not the people move. Offensive. Yeah, you got that right. That was well said. Posted November 14th, 2020. Chuck Modi. I'm here to laugh at people and this ridiculous crybaby attempt to say the votes don't count if we don't get what we want, and we've come to feast on their tears. Oh man. TikTokers and teens also co-opted the Million MAGA March hashtag by adding pictures of pancakes. Yeah, that was more interesting than their little violent march they had out there. Mm-mm-mm. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all gonna have to tell me what you think, but this Million MAGA March has turned out to be a big, big flop. Big flop. But I'm not surprised at all. Usually, when these folks try to gather, it's always a small event. Some of you may remember the Tea Party that miraculously popped up during Obama's administration. And it was the same way. Every time the Tea Party had an event, it was like a speck of them showed up. And we used to laugh at them. Not only would it be a little smidgen amount of people, right? They would have signs up and the signs wouldn't even be spelled right. They would be misspelling America. And all kinds of things would be misspelled, all these misspellings all over their signs. We used to be screaming, laughing. Well, this reminds me of that same thing. And you notice ever since Obama left office, we haven't even heard about the Tea Party since. So we know what their racist intent was all along. Well, I tell you what, Trump, if you were to try to have a coup to keep you in, don't look like enough people would show up to back you up on that. Mm-mm-mm. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this little sorry behind march that turned out to be a big flop and violent on top of that. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.